Today, I want to talk about why your teen triggers you. And spoiler alert, it's probably not about them. Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Christy Kolev. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and a teen expert with over a decade of experience. I help parents navigate complex and common struggles with their teens, improve their relationships, and embrace non judgmental parenting skills. Yes, your teen does things that are probably triggering, but I would say a lot of the times it's our own stuff that's coming up. When parents come to me to help them with their teen's behavior, we almost always end up looking at the parents' behaviors, triggers, stressors, which kind of surprises them. But kids have a great way of holding up a mirror to us and showing us our own insecurities and issues. I always say the biggest part of effective parenting is taking a very good look at yourself and building that self awareness. So let's dive into some of these triggers and what might be pushing your buttons. One trigger could be unresolved issues from your own adolescence or your own childhood. Sometimes teens can bring up things that remind us of our rough patches growing up or our own rebellious behavior. Sometimes the behavior you don't like in teens is behavior you don't like in yourself, and that mirror can be very hard to deal with. Or the behaviors that they engage in are things that we have a pretty traumatic history with or a painful history with. So let's say you were lied to or betrayed and it was pretty traumatic. If your kid is then lying to you, that's going to be pretty triggering for you, much more so than any other behavior that you don't have a history with. So these things can really bring about old issues that maybe are unresolved or we've never worked through, and that makes us respond to them a lot harsher than we otherwise would. Another trigger could be our vision for their future. So, in other words, as parents, of course, we are concerned and worry about our kids, and we are very invested in the outcome of their future. Sometimes we have a very clear vision of the outcome of what we want for them. And if they engage in risky or what seems like irresponsible behavior, we get really worried, not just for their safety, but because it threatens that vision or that future that we had for them. And so being so invested in outcome can kind of work to our detriment sometimes, because if they stray from that in any way, it could trigger us to respond more intensely than we would like to. Another trigger could be feeling a loss of control. When we're raising teens, we really got to loosen the reins a little bit, and that can be really tough, especially if you're a parent that likes control. When teens are pushing for individuality, gaining more independence, and making their own decisions, it can feel like a loss of control because it is. And that can be really triggering. It could lead to feelings of frustration and helplessness, and sometimes cause us to clamp down even harder on the control, which then can backfire and lead to more problems. Another trigger could be personal stress. So, raising kids is already stressful and already difficult, but we're not raising them in a bubble. You are exposed to other relationships, work stressors, right? Other personal things that could be coming up. So, you may be vulnerable. And when you pair that with what we would call teen drama or typical teen behavior, that could be a recipe for disaster. So, sometimes we have to be aware of what is making us emotionally vulnerable. Are we stressed out? And is that causing us to react more strongly to our teen than we typically would? Another possible trigger could be unrealistic expectations. So, of course, as parents, we want what's best for our kids, but sometimes our expectations could be too high or unrealistic. I'm not saying don't push your kids to do better, but sometimes we're pushing them to do things that maybe they're not necessarily capable of yet or capable of at this stage. It can be tricky because developmentally, they're at a place where they're pushing for more independence and they're doing things more independently and adult like, but the emotional maturity is not yet there. So we could be expecting things from them that they just can't achieve yet, or they quite honestly need our help and guidance to achieve. Either way, when they don't meet our expectations, it can be really disappointing and frustrating and cause a strong emotional reaction. A final trigger could be generational and cultural differences. The world that our teens are growing up in now is so different than the world that you grew up in. This generation has had unique experiences that shapes the way they behave. We can easily be triggered by their perspectives and their values because we just don't get it, or we can't relate, or flat out disagree. And for a lot of parents, when their kids don't agree with their values or don't uphold their values or their perspectives, it can be really emotionally triggering. So, there you have it. These are some ways your teens could be triggering you that really stem from your own personal beliefs and perspectives. Recognizing these can help you take a step back, build self awareness, and proceed with things more calmly. Parenting is hard, I know, and to be effective, it does take some introspection and personal work. But this is a great step towards improving your relationship with your teen and feeling regulated as a person overall. If you have some other triggers that come up for you often that I didn't mention, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more parenting videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.